On Delta TV main news tonight, President Bola Tinubu pledges $3 billion for Eastern Rail to boost Southeast infrastructure. Delta State Judiciary swears in new justices of peace in Asaba. Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission backs Oborowori after Governor of the Year recognition. And abroad, President Trump threatens to bypass Congress to enforce new voting laws. Good evening and welcome to Delta TV Main News. You can also follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. I am Blessing Usiagbada. Now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to developing critical infrastructure in the southeast and strengthening collaboration with state government to advance the region's strategic interests. He made this known in Umuahia, Abia State, at a public lecture organized to mark the 70th birthday of former Chief of Army Staff, retired Lieutenant General Azubike Ihejirika. The president announced that the federal government had approved $3 billion for the completion of the 2,044-kilometer Eastern Rail Line and $508 million for the upgrading of eastern ports, describing the investment as critical to boosting commerce, connectivity, and regional development. He also emphasized a non-kinetic security approach aimed at productively young people, reducing crime, and accelerating economic growth, noting that the Southeast remains central to achieving Nigeria's $1 trillion economy target by 2030. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres has asked Nigeria to spearhead Africa's quest for a restructured global order, describing the country as uniquely positioned to lead the continent toward superpower status. Guterres praised the economic reforms of the President Bola Tinubu-led administration, as well as Nigeria's leadership in stabilizing the Sahel and ECOWAS regions, despite facing its own security challenges. The UN chief made the remarks during a high-level bilateral meeting with Vice President Kashim Shettima on the sidelines of the 39th African Union Summit in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia. Speaking during the talks, Guterres said Nigeria's large population, sustained democratic governance, vast natural and human resources, and long-standing commitment to multilateralism place it in a unique position to lead Africa in the evolving global order. He said the UN Secretary General and the Vice President discussed key developments in Nigeria, as well as the country's expanding leadership role in promoting regional stability across West Africa and the Sahel. In his remarks, Vice President Kashim Shettima thanked the UN Secretary General for his leadership in promoting global peace, saying Africa has benefited immensely from his tenure, even as the United Nations undergoes internal restructuring. The Vice President also reiterated Nigeria's long-standing call for comprehensive reform of the United Nations system to reflect evolving global realities. He emphasized that Africa must have stronger representation in global decision-making structures and declared that Nigeria deserves a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council. Both leaders pledged to deepen cooperation, with Guterres reaffirming the UN support for Nigeria's reform agenda and its growing leadership role in advancing peace, security, and development across the African continent. The House of Representatives will reconvene for an emergency sitting on Tuesday, February 17, 2026, to deliberate on issues arising from the recently released 2027 general election timetable by the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. The announcement was contained in a statement signed by the House spokesperson, Honorable Akin Rotimi. According to the statement, members were formally notified through an internal memorandum issued by the Office of the Speaker late Friday, stressing the constitutional and national significance of INEC's timetable and the need for urgent legislative attention. The House said the emergency session reflects its determination to respond swiftly to matters with far-reaching implications for Nigeria's democratic process. Deliberations are expected to focus on legislative issues connected to INEC's announcement, in line with the constitutional responsibilities of the National Assembly. INEC had earlier fixed the presidential and National Assembly elections for February 20, 2027, while governorship and state assembly elections are scheduled for March 6, 2027. The electoral body also set May 22 to June 20th, 2026 for party primaries. However, the February 20 date has generated debate among some Nigerians, particularly within the Muslim community, as it falls within the holy month of Ramadan. They argue that the physical demands of fasting could affect voter turnout, logistics, and the performance of electoral officials and observers. The House of Representatives reaffirmed its commitment to strengthen Nigeria's democratic institutions through responsive and responsible lawmaking, assuring Nigerians that all legislative matters related to the issue will be addressed promptly. A swearing-in and oath-taking ceremony for newly appointed Justices of Peace was held in Asaba, the state capital, marking a significant milestone in the state judicial administration. The oath of office was administered by Honorable Justice Theresa Diaye and conducted on her behalf by Honorable Justice Okolosi. The report.
Do solemnly affirm. That I will be faithful.
The State Chief Judge, Justice Theresa Diaye, represented by Justice Godwin Briskey Okolosi, administered the oath of office to the newly appointed Justices of the Peace, charging them to uphold fairness, integrity, and strict adherence to the rule of law in the discharge of their duties. She emphasized that appointees must demonstrate honesty, impartiality, and accountability at all times in the execution of their responsibilities.
The caliber of individuals screened and found suitable and worthy for the appointment as Justices of the Peace is a reflection of the importance attached to the office by the government of Delta State. It is a position of trust which demands diligence, integrity, and forthrightness at all times. You are expected to discharge your responsibility dutifully for the smooth administration of justice and in the overall interest of justice and peace. Any Justice of the Peace who does any act which is inconsistent with the functions of his office, or who conducts himself in a manner which makes it unreasonable to continue in office, or who becomes physically or mentally unfit to carry out the responsibility of the office of Justice of the Peace by the government.
Speaking on behalf of the new Justices of the Peace, one of the appointees expressed appreciation for the honor and assured the state government of their commitment to justify the confidence reposed in them.
We do not take this trust lightly, rather, we receive it with humility, a strong sense of responsibility, and a firm resolve to discharge our duties diligently, impartially, and in accordance with the law.
Some respondents present at the ceremony shared their thoughts on the development, highlighting the significance of the appointment for the grassroots justice administration.
Basic responsibility is to keep peace in our communities and to make sure that justice comes to the grassroots.
Highly elected to be so honored. The assignment, by the grace of God, we will do our best.
It's a service to humanity and service to support the judiciary and support the state and Nigeria at large.
It's a very big honor that I've been investitured the Justice of the Peace today.
Making peace all over everywhere I find myself. Now that I've been elevated to this standard, I think I have to follow him and make sure there is peace and tranquility in my LGA and at the state and the country at large.
The ceremony drew a cross-section of the legal community, family members, and well-wishers all gathered to witness the formal induction of the new Justices of the Peace. Antonia Mowa reporting.
The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, Chief Festus Ochonogo, has congratulated Governor Sheriff Oborevwori on his recent recognition as Governor of the Year 2025 by leadership newspapers. In a statement, Chief Ochonogo described the award as a testament to the governor's exemplary governance and visionary leadership, especially his commitment to the sustainable development of all oil-producing communities in the state. He highlighted ongoing infrastructure projects under the governor's administration, including road construction and rehabilitation, jetties, educational institutions, and healthcare facilities. The SOPADEC boss also praised the implementation of the national minimum wage for the SOPADEC staff, noting that it has boosted workers' morale and improved service delivery. Chief Ochonogo expressed confidence that the national recognition will inspire continued excellence in governance and assured Governor Oborevwori of the SOPADEC's unwavering support in advancing socio-economic development across the state's oil-producing communities. Governor Sheriff Oborevwori has congratulated the Ovie of Uwie Kingdom, Abe I, on his 18th coronation anniversary, describing his reign as impactful, stabilizing, and development-driven. In a statement released through his Chief Press Secretary, Sir Festus Anho, the governor commended the monarch's steadfast leadership, noting that Uwie Kingdom has been transformed into a peaceful and investor-friendly domain under his guidance. Governor Oborevwori highlighted that the royal father, working closely with his Council of Chiefs and Youths, has sustained harmony and strengthened communal bonds, laying a solid foundation for economic growth and social stability. He expressed confidence that with the prevailing peace and unity, Uwie Kingdom is positioned to emerge as the commercial nerve center of Delta State, and prayed for continued good health and wisdom for the monarch. In another development, the state governor, the Right Honorable Sheriff Oborevwori, has congratulated former editor of Vanguard newspaper and publisher of the News Guru Online, Mideno Bayobon, as he celebrates his 65th birthday. In a statement issued by his Chief Press Secretary, Sir Festus Anho, Governor Oborevwori described Mr. Bayobon as one of Nigeria's most accomplished journalists, whose career has left a lasting impact on the nation's media landscape. The governor commended the Jedo Ukpe-born media professional for decades of dedicated service, editorial depth, and unwavering commitment to truth and ethical reporting. He highlighted that Mr. Bayobon's leadership in the newsroom has helped shape public discourse and strengthen democratic values across the country. He further said the celebrant's continued relevance in digital journalism and urged younger media practitioners to emulate his professionalism and steadfast dedication to the ethics of the profession. Similarly, the staff and management of the State Bureau for Orientation and Communications have congratulated Mideno Bayobon on his occasion of his 65th birthday. A statement by the Director General of the Bureau, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, said Mr. Bayobon, a former editor of Vanguard newspaper, was described as a media icon whose leadership strengthened professionalism, truth, and innovation in journalism. The statement highlighted that over the years, the veteran journalist has mentored and inspired numerous media practitioners, contributing significantly to the growth and standards of the profession in the state and across the country. The Bureau wished him good health, longevity, and continued influence, celebrating a life dedicated to impactful service and excellence in journalism. In the same vein, the Commissioner for Special Duties, Government House, Asaba, Dr. Michael Oswaza, has congratulated the State Director of Protocol, Chief Sunday Onorode, on the occasion of his birthday. In a goodwill message, Dr. Swaza described the celebrants as a dependable and exceptionally efficient public servant whose diligence, loyalty, and attention to detail have earned him widespread trust and admiration. He commended the Director of Protocol for his unwavering commitment and professionalism in service to the state and prayed for good health, prosperity, and greater accomplishment for him in the years ahead. In a related development, the Director General of the State Bureau for Orientation and Communications, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, has paid glowing tribute to the State Director of Protocol, Chief Sunday Onorode, on the occasion of his birthday, describing him as one of the stabilizing pillars of the state's political architecture. In a statement, Dr. Ogenesiwe said Chief Onorode's over 3 decades in the political arena have been defined by discipline, strategic coordination, and an uncommon ability to manage complex power dynamics with tact and precision. He noted that the Director of Protocol's enduring relevance in the state's political evolution is anchored on his exceptional organizational brilliance, loyalty to constituted authority, and firm commitment to institutional order. The Bureau Chief emphasized that Chief Onorode has remained a trusted confidant within government cycles, playing a critical behind-the-scenes role in harmonizing political interests and ensuring the seamless execution of high-level state engagements. Dr. Ogenesiwe further described him as a frontline ambassador of the Mo agenda of Governor Sheriff Oborowori, whose steady hand in protocol administration has reinforced governance stability and strengthened stakeholder confidence across the state. He prayed that as the celebrant marked another year, he will continue to attain greater political heights, consolidate his legacy of service, and enjoy enduring good health and longevity. Also, the staff and management of the State Bureau for Orientation and Communications have felicitated Mideno Bayobon on the occasion of his 65th birthday. In a statement signed by the Director General of the Bureau, Dr. Fred Ogenesiwe, said Mr. Bayobon, a former editor of Vanguard newspaper, was described as a media icon whose leadership strengthened professionalism, truth, and innovation in journalism. The statement noted that over the years, the veteran journalist has mentored and inspired numerous media practitioners, contributing significantly to the growth and standards of the profession in the state and across the nation. The Bureau wished Mr. Bayobon good health, longevity, and continued influence in a life of lasting impact and service. The State Commissioner for Special Duties, Government House, Asaba, Dr. Ifeanyi Oswaza, has congratulated the Agwogidi of Idumuju Boko Kingdom, Nwoko IV, on the occasion of his 75th birthday. In a Google message, Dr. Oswaza described the monarch's 75 years as a testament to honor, wisdom, courage, and devoted service to his people and humanity. He noted that the reign of the royal father has remained a symbol of dignity, vision, cultural pride, and progressive leadership, bringing prestige and development to Idumuju Boko Kingdom and beyond. Dr. Oswaza prayed for God's blessings on the monarch, asking for sound health, renewed strength, and divine wisdom to continue guiding the kingdom in peace and prosperity. The legislative arm of the Oshimili North Local Government Council has passed a resolution urging the executive chairman and relevant security agencies to retrieve the council's mace, which was forcefully taken by Honorable Jeffrey Mordi during plenary on December 11, 2025. The resolution was adopted on Tuesday during a plenary presided over by the Leader of the House, Right Honorable Henry Olowo. The report.
Moving the motion, the Majority Leader, Honorable Patrick Nwakwo of DCEC Ward 8, seconded by Honorable Siri Afago, Ward 1, stated that following the expiration of a 7-day ultimatum earlier issued to Honorable Mordi, it was necessary to formally notify the council leadership and security agencies to retrieve the mace. The lawmaker stressed that the mace is the property of Oshimili North Local Government Council and should not be held by any individual.
It is quite obvious that we are giving grace to one of our colleagues who is Honorable Jeffrey Mordi, to return the property of the council. A letter, official letter or formal letter has been written to him for him to do the needful. But with what we're experiencing, I don't think he's feeling remorse or he's ready to return what belongs to the council.
We are one party, we are colleagues, we know, but nobody is above the law, and one person cannot be bigger than majority. So I am supporting what my colleague has said.
I pleaded that we should try to handle this thing internally to see how that my move then was to see how we can make peace and bring return sanity to the house. Mr. Leader, sir, I'm also doing that same line.
The motion was unanimously adopted by councillors present.
So he doesn't support the motion as moved by majority leader that the council should go after Honorable Jeffrey Moody to retrieve the maize. Say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it.
Speaking after plenary, Right Honourable Olowo emphasized that there was no justification for Honourable Modi's continued custody of the maize, noting that suspensions on him and 2 other councillors had been lifted earlier in the year. He assured that the legislative arm remained focused on serving the people and highlighted that the more agenda of Governor Sheriff Oborevwori continued to guide efforts to deliver grassroots development and good governance.
Issue, there is no personal fight or any personal issue attached to this thing. You know, you should just shield his sword, let him come, let's work together and see how we can move Oshimiri North forward. We are elected here not to come and fight, but to come and do our job. We have a job to do for Oshimiri North people, and the people should be seen. We should be seen doing that, not all this rancor here and there.
The House adjourned plenary to Tuesday, 17 February 2026.
The federal government has commenced moves to institutionalize a coordinated support ecosystem for wives and widows of military personnel as part of efforts to strengthen social protection and family-centered welfare interventions across the country. The initiative was unveiled during a strategic meeting led by the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, North Central, Dr. Abiodun Esset, and the Minister of Women Affairs, Hajia Iman Suleiman Ibrahim, in partnership with the Stand With a Girl initiative. The proposed framework is designed to deliver structured, multi-sectorial assistance to military families, particularly spouses and widows, through integrated psychosocial services, economic empowerment programs, improved access to health care, and enhanced social protection mechanisms. According to stakeholders at the meeting, the coordinated model is intended to bridge existing gaps in welfare delivery while ensuring that affected families receive consistent and sustainable support through collaboration among government agencies, civil society organizations, and development partners. The Minister of Women Affairs described the proposal as timely and in line with the federal government's 2026 Year of Family and Social Development agenda, noting that strengthening family systems remains central to national stability and inclusive growth. She subsequently inaugurated a review committee tasked with fine-tuning operational modalities and recommending an implementation roadmap to ensure effectiveness, transparency, and long-term sustainability of the initiative. Participants at the engagement expressed optimism that the ecosystem, once operational, would not only improve the welfare of military spouses and widows, but also reinforce national appreciation for the sacrifices of armed forces personnel and their families. You're watching Delta TV Main News. Still to come, President Trump threatens to bypass Congress to enforce new voting laws. Details of this story and many more will come after the short break. Please stay tuned. and thank you so much for staying tuned to Delta TV Main News. The global scene is next as we join our World News Desk.
U.S. President Donald Trump has threatened to try to bypass Congress and force new voting laws ahead of the November midterm elections, where his Republican Party fears losing control of the legislature. Trump said he will soon issue an executive order attempting to impose the rules if Congress does not pass a law requiring photo identification to vote and other nationwide reforms. Any attempt will likely be met by a legal challenge that could ultimately be decided by the Supreme Court. While many jurisdictions across the United States required photo ID to cast ballots, not all do, with Trump and many Republicans arguing without evidence that those areas have permitted significant vote fraud. The Trump-backed Save America Election Reform Act passed in the Republican-controlled House of Representatives this week. However, it is expected to fail in the Senate, where the Republican majority is too slim to pass the law without Democratic support. In addition to requiring a photo ID to cast a ballot, the bill also requires proof of citizenship to register. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky says every power plant in the country has been damaged by Russian attacks, leaving millions of citizens facing heat-sink cold in freezing temperatures. Speaking at the Munich Security Conference today, Zelensky said there is not a single power left in Ukraine that has not been damaged. Despite the destruction, he insisted the country is still generating electricity and praised thousands of workers working round the clock to repair damaged facilities. Kyiv and its Western allies have accused Moscow of deliberately targeting Ukraine's energy grid in a bid to cripple the population during winter. Zelensky called for faster delivery of Western supply air defense systems, including Patriot and NASAMS missiles, to help protect critical infrastructure. The Ukrainian leader also delivered a scathing attack on Russian President Vladimir Putin, describing him as a slave to war and comparing him to Adolf Hitler. He warned that no one in Ukraine believes Putin will allow Ukrainians to live freely under continued Russian aggression.
Welcome back home. Now in business, the Naira weakened slightly against the United States dollar at the close of trading in the official foreign exchange market, ending the week on a negative note. Data released by the Central Bank of Nigeria showed that the local currency depreciated to 1,355.41 Naira per dollar yesterday, compared to 1,353.66 Naira recorded on Thursday. This represents a day-to-day decline of 1.75 Naira at the official window. However, performance at the parallel market remained stable. The Naira traded at 1,440 Naira per dollar on Friday, the same rate recorded a day earlier, reflecting relative calm in the black market segment. Despite yesterday's marginal depreciation, the Naira posted an overall positive performance for the week under review. At the official market, the currency appreciated by 10.78 Naira on a week-on-week basis. Similarly, at the parallel market, it gained 15 Naira within the same period. Market analysts attribute the improved weekly performance to sustained growth in Nigeria's external reserves. Latest figures indicate that the country's reserve rose to $47.53 billion as of February 10, 2026, strengthening confidence in the foreign exchange market and supporting liquidity levels. And now to sport. World Football Governing Body, FIFA, will on Monday, February 16, deliver its verdict on Nigeria's eligibility protest against DR Congo following the 2025 African Playoff Final. The Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, had in December lodged an official complaint alleging that at least 6 DR Congo players who featured in the playoff final were ineligible to play after recently switching nationality. The decisive match ended 1-1 in regulation time, before the Super Eagles lost 4-3 on penalties, missing out an automatic qualification. NFF General Secretary Dr. Mohamed Sanusi says Nigeria has a strong case. According to him, the Federation would not have filed a complaint if it lacked merit, expressing confidence that FIFA will give a fair ruling. Should FIFA rule in Nigeria's favor, the Super Eagles will be reinstated into the Intercontinental Playoff Tournament scheduled for March in Mexico. Victory in that tournament would secure Nigeria one of Africa's remaining slots at the 2026 FIFA World Cup, to be hosted by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. Nigerians now await Monday's decision, which could reopen the country's path to the global showpiece. That's our news. Now our thought for the day. Fame fades, but impact and courage remain forever. And before we go, let's take a look at some of our major stories. President Bola Tinubu has reaffirmed his administration's commitment to developing critical infrastructure in the southeast and strengthening collaboration with state government to advance the region's strategic interest. The president announced that the federal government had approved $3 billion for the completion of the 2,044-kilometer Eastern Rail Line and $508 million for the upgrading of eastern ports, describing the investments as critical to boosting commerce, connectivity, and regional development. A swearing-in and oath-taking ceremony for newly appointed justices of the peace was held in Asaba, the state capital, marking a significant milestone in the state's judicial administration. The oath of office was administered by Honorable Justice Theresa Diaye and conducted on her behalf by Honorable Justice Okolosi. The Managing Director and Chief Executive Officer of the Delta State Oil Producing Areas Development Commission, Chief Festus Ochonogo, has congratulated Governor Sheriff Oborevwori on his recent recognition as Governor of the Year 2025 by leadership newspapers. In a statement, Chief Ochonogo described the award as a testament to the governor's exemplary governance and visionary leadership, especially his commitment to the sustainable development of oil-producing communities in the state. We also reported that President Trump threatens to bypass Congress to enforce new voting laws. That ends Delta TV Main News. You can also follow our news online on Facebook and YouTube at Delta Broadcasting Service Asaba, or visit our website at www.dbsasaba.com. Thank you so much for watching. I am Blessing Ustiagbada. Wish you a restful night. Goodbye for now.